we can flip instantly and start making that attack on Trump, and they have nothing in response. The Republicans are completely at sea, without a sail, without a compass, without a telescope, and they're all blind, and none of them have sailing experience. All they have is like sexism right now. They don't have any attacks on Kamala Harris. I can't imagine any Democrat politician right now trying to like take the reins. Like, actually, genuinely, I can't imagine it. I don't know who would do it, why they would do it, when everything is on the line, unless they're, getting paid under the table by Republicans to throw the election. Like, there's just like no one else that could possibly take over for Kamala. When I saw that Biden was actually dropping out, I was like, well, there we go. The Democrats are just forfeiting. They're just forfeiting. Well, what's coming out about the Secret Service, the Dems are like prey? Well, I'm going to have to look at that because I haven't followed any of that. Today has been me looking at jobs, has been me pulling my computer stuff out so that I can look at jobs, setting it up, and figuring out that our Wi-Fi speed sucks. So I haven't seen anything with the Secret Service. I just literally haven't had time to look at it. But you know what I have seen is way more rallying around Kamala Harris than I ever would have expected immediately after Biden drops out, right? Which I, again, still think was a bad move. I still think that Biden dropping out is the Democrat leadership forfeiting. I do. But I think that in their forfeiture, something good can come out of it. Because again, man, the amount of support that Kamala Harris is getting right now, and on top of that, the shit show from the Republican side. The conservatives have no clue because they haven't been given their marching orders yet. The Republicans are losing their minds, bro. They don't know which vector to attack because it was just repeat over and over and over and over and over that Biden is old. Biden is old. And did you remember that Biden is old? And he's old. Biden's old. Kamala comes into play now. Now Trump is, 84 years old or some shit? Wait, no, he's 80 years old. I guess. Guess what? Through the power of the internet, we can learn anything. 78 years old. So by the time he would be done with by the time of the midterms, he would be 80 years old, right? Not a good, I don't know, guys. 78 years old seems like a little old to me for a president to be. But they don't know how to, we make that joke. We make that joke because it's obvious that Republicans have been harping on this over and over and over. It's age, it's age, it's age. Look at all the flubs he's making. Donald Trump, yeah, maybe sometimes he mixes up his words, but it's not as bad as Biden. Well, what is their, instead of a negative approach to advocating for Donald Trump, the Democrats will do this, they don't have a positive reason to say for Donald Trump at all. Their only pro-Donald Trump point that they had that wasn't a negative against the Democrats was, look, Donald Trump is of sound mind. He's not mixing up people's names, even though he totally was mixing up people's names. Now there's a 60-year-old running against him. And I also, during the break, I got unbanned from Twitter, so why is it immediately JStalk? Don't care. Let me go to where's profile? Sorry, we're also going to go through a couple of memes, okay? Because some of these memes are top tier. Oh my God, is that the background noise? There we go. That ought to work because I'm leaning forward like this. Where is Hillary when they need her? No, we don't need Hillary. Shut up, C. But like, how about you walk to a polling place and vote on that thing? Excellent meme. Okay. But like, this is the tier. This is where we're at with the Republicans. This is all they can come up with. This is all they got. Is the potential for 8 years? I know. Yeah. I wonder why so many women vote Democrat. Like, the second there's a woman in the race, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. As soy as it is to say, right? Women voting, and you can see this with all the far right people, right? All the far right people like Andrew Wilson and all of these like big meme accounts on Twitter who are like Melanie Mack and all of the big right wing accounts on Twitter, they're against the 19th Amendment. They don't want women to vote because women vote Democrat. But you could get women to vote Republican if you didn't do shit like this. You'd be able to get women voting Republican in much higher numbers if they didn't feel like you hated them. Plus, the fact that Democrats being in control for this long will probably prevent any huge economic crashes like always historically happens. Well, I wouldn't like make it because we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years. There's just like any kind of economic guesswork like that is going to be really tough. Oh shit. Working with only 2 monitors is, God, I feel poor because I can't slide it over to a third screen. I guess I technically could, like right now, run into the other room and grab a TV, but I feel like that's way too much work. But yeah, I think that the making a guesswork like economic crashes won't happen because Democrats in office. I mean, yeah, true on that one, Tron. But like I'm just excited about like the amount of like screeching going on with the conservatives. Like, look at this one from 2 years ago. Trump would be 82 at the end of term, which is too old to be chief executive of anything, let alone the United States of America. If DeSantis runs against Biden in 2024, if DeSantis runs against Biden in 2024, then DeSantis will easily win. He doesn't even need to campaign. Kamala Harris. Where's the music coming from? I'm actually the meme game for Kamala is actually hella good already. Oh yeah. Also, there's something else I'm probably going to want to talk about, which is all the lefties who were saying that Biden needs to drop out of the race so that we can beat Trump. Either progressives or far lefties. Now, I don't know what the Young Turks have said yet, right? So that's something I'm interested to see. But it's always disingenuous, and this is why I see the Dems pushing Biden out as a capitulation, because none of the criticisms from far lefties were in good faith, right? None of the critiques from progressives or from Republicans were in good faith. Because immediately they're like, oh, Biden dropped out like you guys, like we kept on telling you guys we wanted. Oh, so you guys actually did force Biden out of the race? Okay, so you listened to us. But Kamala Harris is a cop, not just a meme, a cop. They had no intention. It was all bad faith. Nobody who said Joe Biden needs to step out of the race right now from the punditry or from the online space were saying it in good faith. Now, I will take that back only if and only I see examples of individuals. I'll give them credit. So like if Cenk Uygur comes out and says, all right, he dropped out. This is perfect. This is good. I'm glad about this. Now we have a young person that's running against Trump. we have a chance and we should all rally around Kamala Harris, I'm 100%. I'm 100% behind Kamala Harris. Then I will say I'm 100% eating my words. I'm proud of Jake for actually, like making an ask of the Democrats and then not walking back and saying it wasn't good enough.
Coming up on the TV News tonight at 8, Democratic presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris apologized for laughing and saying, quote, well said at a campaign event where Southeast...
She should never have apologized. She should never have apologized.
An audience member called President Trump, quote, mentally... Harris said she did not hear or process the man's comment and would have stopped and corrected him. Now,
let's go over that. The Rollo Tomasi stuff is really funny. Rollo Tomasi getting found out as having an alt that is extremely racist is not surprising to me. What is also not surprising to me is, and you know what, we should find this because it's Ryan. Let me see if I see him in my suggested somewhere around here. And if not, I'll try and guess what is Macbeth. It's Ryan Macbeth. In wokeness. Turns out, this
NBC News White House correspondent Mike Hemley, NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles, and New York Times chief White House correspondent and MSNBC political analyst Peter Baker. So, Mike, Kamala Harris is going to be going to Delaware. She's going to be visiting the campaign staff. What do we know about that visit, and what do we know about any interactions she's been having with President Biden in these last 24 hours?
Well, Katie, any minute now, we should see some pictures of Vice President Harris boarding Air Force Two for that very short flight from the Washington area into Wilmington, Delaware. And from there, she'll head to the campaign headquarters, what was the Biden-Harris campaign headquarters, now the Harris to-be-determined campaign headquarters. And this is an important visit because since last April, when the president announced he was seeking a second term, his campaign has raised tens of millions of dollars, built a behemoth of an organization across the country, and hired hundreds of staff to not just staff the battleground states, but especially to staff the campaign headquarters. And they were rather uncertain yesterday, in fact, learning just as we all were publicly when that announcement came from the president that he would not seek a second term. So it was important, we're told, for the vice president, for her to go as soon as she could to speak to those employees directly. The leadership of the campaign has made it clear to them that this was a campaign that was designed and built to win across the country and to beat Donald Trump, and it remains that, and that everyone who was employed on the campaign will continue to be. But it's also an important opportunity for Harris to meet with the campaign leadership, and as she wants to put her own stamp on this campaign. Every campaign is a reflection of the candidate it represents.
One thing that people need to understand is that when choosing who's going to be the next, Democratic nominee, it's got to be Harris. All the people that were calling for Biden to drop out, it had to be Harris the entire time, right? And it's for multiple reasons, both political and logistical. Logistically, all of the money that was donated to the Biden-Harris campaign, if you notice, there are two names on that ticket, Biden and Harris. It's a legal political entity that has been receiving money. And it wasn't donated to the Democratic Party nominee. It wasn't donated to Gretchen Whitmer. It wasn't donated to Gavin Newsom. It wasn't donated to Bernie Sanders. It wasn't donated to AOC. It wasn't donated to any of those people. It was donated to Biden-Harris campaign against Donald Trump. And for anybody else to take over as the nominee for the Democratic Party, for someone to take that over, all of that funding is really up in the air and open to a billion legal challenges over how they even attempt to transfer that money, right? So, if Bernie Sanders was made the next nominee, there is no guarantee. I don't think that now remember, I'm just a guy on the internet that doesn't know a whole lot about finance or, the intricacies of federal election laws, especially like election finance laws. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I believe it would be really difficult to try and funnel that money out of the Biden-Harris campaign, coffers to somebody else. And I think the only way you could do that is to put all of that money into a super PAC, but that money wouldn't be able to be used to pay staffers or anything like that. That money could be used for, advertisements and paying for other things like that. But any money that would go towards like paying staffers or, canvassers or anything like that, that would have to come out of the Biden-Harris campaign or whatever campaign it is. If it was Bernie Sanders, it would have to come from the Bernie Sanders campaign for them to, do that. And if it was someone else besides Biden or Harris, like they just said, all the people that were working on this campaign, listen to this.
That everyone who was employed on the campaign will continue to be, but it's
everyone that was employed on the campaign would continue to be employed on the campaign. It's just one person dropping out of the ticket, but the other person is still there. So they still have all their people around them. They still have all the same strategy. They don't have to start from scratch to build a new campaign to fight against Donald Trump, right? And mix that in. And this is me trying not to be a doomer because I don't know like everything, and I don't think anybody that says that they know what's going to happen in the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks, is coping unbelievably hard. They have no idea what they're talking about because nobody knows the implications of someone dropping out of the presidential race this early on. Nobody does, right? I'm going to attempt to raise this microphone so I'm not, leaning over to try and talk into the mic, but I don't think that that's working. Hopefully this works. See if I can turn the gain up very slightly so I can talk from back here and not hurt my back anymore. Testing my mic. Okay. Let's see if there's a lot of gain. Okay, that's fine. Anyways, so the idea that like anybody else could just like jump in and we could, for the logistic reasons, like that's like it's no small feat. Plus some other contentions like ballot access in certain states could be called into question. I'm not sure that that's as big of a legitimate issue just because the Democratic primary isn't, the convention isn't for what, another week or two? Democratic National Convention. When? July 15th? That's the Republican. August 19th through the 22nd? God. So like, because it's so, have you seen Trump coping? No, but if you link it in the Discord, we'll go over it. Because this is so late, relatively speaking, in the campaign. I say relatively speaking, it's pretty late in the election cycle. But we thought that we were locked in. We thought we were locked in with Trump versus Biden. But let's assume that like Biden died, right? Then it would be Kamala Harris there, and they would have to change the names on the tickets anyways. And I don't think that there would be any way for them to legally challenge that, right? So Biden dropping out and Kamala Harris taking over, I don't think there should be any problems with that. Because if realistically, let's say that this was a tight campaign that was like going down to the wire between two Democratic nominees, would the rest of those states just say like, oh, well, you guys waited too late for your national convention to nominate your candidate, therefore you guys don't get to run a candidate in our state? I don't think that would, I think that would be very legally tenuous. But anyways, let's finish this out.
Also an important opportunity for us
I didn't even talk about the political difficulties, because we talked about the logistics of it are absolutely something that should be talked about for anybody who's going to cry cope see that Bernie Sanders didn't get a fourth shot at this, right? But I don't think that there's a way to nominate someone that isn't Kamala Harris without it looking really bad on the Democrats. Like, yeah, our guy was old and he's dropping out. And instead of running the person that was supposed to be his second in command, instead of running that person, we're just going to pick a whole third new person and just say "F you" to Kamala Harris, which I don't think would ever. I don't think that it would go. I don't think it would go over well. You know, but that one's a lot shorter of an explanation than the real logistic problems of everything kind of changing.
The campaign leadership, and she wants to put her own stamp on this campaign. Every campaign is a reflection of the candidate it represents, and there is clearly, as much as Biden and Harris were a close-knit team over the last 3+ years, really almost 4 years since she joined the ticket in the summer of 2020, she does now lead the ticket and is going to want to have a campaign that represents her more fully. So there will be conversations as well about potential changes, ways in which her team will be layered into this operation, and what, if anything, is going to change now as she moves forward with the imperative of having to win an election with a 100+ day sprint. Reminder, she is not the Democratic nominee just yet, but as more and more leaders across the party have come out today to make their endorsement of her official, it does appear clear that whatever process unfolds to determine that nomination is one that is going to be much more of a coronation in the end for Kamala Harris.
Also, what
true for everything that he just said, but Trump is now the oldest candidate with questionable mental issues. Yeah, that's something I was talking about earlier. Like the idea, right? The idea that we can flip instantly and start making that attack on Trump, and they have nothing in response. The Republicans are completely at sea, without a sail, without a compass, without a telescope, and they're all blind, and none of them have sailing experience. And some idiot was gnawing on the oars, and so now all of the oars are completely out of commission. So they're just at sea adrift. They have no idea which attack vector to go at with Kamala Harris, except for, like I was showing earlier, come on, extreme sexism. Extreme sexism. Like, not a little bit of sexism, a lot of sexism. And that's they're showing how inept they are at this. How do you not have a contingency plan? You guys have been calling for Biden to drop out of the race, Give me 2 seconds. I just need to run and grab something real quick. Ugh. Every bone in my body just popped. Oh, Jesus. Sitting back down in this uncomfortable position. What was I saying a second ago? Oh yeah, but all they have is like sexism right now. They don't have any attacks on Kamala Harris that Republicans will respond to, because the left does. Sondsol set up as the average gamer man setup. That's very true. For people not in the know, this is my current setup. This is what I'm sitting at right this second, and it's horrid. It's actually unlivable. Oh my god! And the camera just keeps on getting darker and darker. Configure video. Okay, that'll have to work. Anyways, this is what I'm working with right now. But like, the left has so many attacks against Kamala Harris because far lefties hate cops. They hate them. But the conservatives don't. So any attack on her for being a cop ain't gonna work. It'd just make her look more based. Yeah, we stand Cop Mala. This is what they have right now. Wait, where's the side by side? Did I even retweet it? I don't think I did. This is still a really good picture. Also, there's another one. I think it must just be in my likes. But we do have side by side these two. All we got to do now is re-put in the Donald Trump thing there and have this. Can you imagine his rage right now for what they did to his father? He saw it. He saw it all. I pray the world can handle his wrath. We're going goblin mode.
The party and the campaign, whichever campaign it ends up being, will do with the nearly $100 million that has been raised in just the past day. All right, Ryan, let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill. Jeffries and the Majority Leader Schumer were supposed to be meeting with Kamala Harris. Jeffries said shortly. Have they already met with her? Are they going to be meeting with her after the visit to Delaware?
We don't exactly know the time frame of when that meeting will take place, Katie, just that we know it's going to happen soon. And while both Jeffries and Chuck Schumer have had a lot of good things to say about Kamala Harris, they've stopped short of giving her their outright endorsement. They do at least want the opportunity to meet with her, look her in the eye, have a face-to-face conversation before they take that step. And I think that is reflective of this concern that this be somewhat of an open nominating contest, that there be the opportunity for others to put their hat in the ring if they are so willing to do so. And Schumer and Jeffries don't want to put their thumb on the scale until they absolutely have to. But listen to what Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, had to say about Kamala Harris in this race just a few minutes ago.
I can't imagine any Democrat politician right now trying to take the reins. Actually, genuinely, I can't imagine it. I don't know who would do it, why they would do it when everything is on the line, unless they're, getting paid under the table by Republicans to throw the election. There's just no one else that could possibly take over for Kamala.
And I are scheduled to meet with Vice President Harris shortly. Our House came back into session today. The Senate does not come back into session tomorrow. I'm excited for that meeting. And let me say this, that Vice President Kamala Harris has excited the community. She's excited the House Democratic Caucus, and she's exciting the country. So I'm looking forward to sitting down with her in person in short order with Leader Schumer, and we'll have more to say about the path forward as soon as that meeting happens.
And then, of course, classic Hakeem Jeffries shortly does not give us any kind of specific idea as to when that meeting will take place. But you can read between the lines. He's mentioned that the Senate is not back in session until tomorrow. So there's the realistic possibility that Chuck Schumer's not even in Washington yet. So I would not be surprised if that meeting doesn't take place until tomorrow. There's probably not a lot of suspense here. It seems very likely that Schumer and Jeffries will join the rest of the Democratic power base that is getting.
They need to immediately. I don't know why there aren't every single politician in the Democratic Party isn't immediately uniting behind Kamala. This is why I hate the Democratic Party. Okay, I love the policies. I love what Biden's been able to do over the past 4 years. Unironically, one reason why I'm so mad that they forced Biden out is that he is the most consequential president of my lifetime, bar none. In terms of legislation that he passed, it is insane what he was able to accomplish. Despite everything, despite every roadblock in the world up against him, what he was able to get done was unreal. For them to kick him to the curb because of one bad debate performance, and let's be real, that is what happened. It was one bad debate performance that ended Biden's presidential campaign. But you're going to make all these public declarations, further harming your own side as the Senate Majority Leader, and then not immediately, once you got what you're asking for, not immediately endorsing Harris? Can someone give me any explanation whatsoever as to why they wouldn't do that? I don't understand it.
Behind the Kamala Harris campaign. And I think a big reason for that, Katie and Chris, is that we've seen the last 3 weeks of turmoil, of angst, of a divided Democratic Party. The Democrats I talked to were just sick of that.
Pelosi caved in criticizing Biden or caved in endorsing Kamala?
Want to move on. They want to unite behind a candidate. They want to take on Donald Trump. And I think that's part of the reason why you're seeing everyone be so swiftly willing to get behind Kamala Harris's campaign.
And Peter, we were just watching as Kamala Harris at JBA, Joy Bay Sanders, was getting onto a flight that's going to take her to Delaware, where she's going to be meeting with campaign staff like the rest of us. Many of them caught on the very last minute of being shocked by what happened. It's possible just a little more than 24 hours ago now. Talk about her role in these early hours with so many people getting behind her to really shore things up with her campaign, to shore things up with the folks in Congress, and frankly, to move forward.
Yeah, she's obviously done a lot of the things that she needs to do.
An hour ago, she finally did. I have full confidence she will lead us to victory. This should have been done. When did Biden drop out of the race? Yesterday or the day before? It should have been like Biden releases his statement, and then every single Democratic politician puts out a statement. Oh, it just started raining. Okay, I was like, Jesus, what is that noise? I just don't know why there haven't been every single person in the Democratic Party piling behind her. Eric Holder is running the VP vetting process. I'm so curious to see how that goes.
In this first 24 hours, she spent 10 hours on the phone after yesterday's announcement, we're told, making phone calls to congressmen. And
Obama is then an open convention. For who else to jump in? Just throw away literally both people who have been part of the best presidential term of my lifetime. You're going to toss both of them? Jesus Christ, what is wrong with you?
senators and governors and other party figures, and that's paying off because, in fact, the road does seem clear, the nomination for her. You can't beat somebody with nobody, and nobody seems to be running at this point. So she seems to basically have it locked up. Obviously, anything can still happen, but if they're not announcing by the end of the day, it's hard to see how in this very truncated period anybody else can even mount a credible campaign, much less actually take her on. So she's already looking ahead to the fall, to taking on Donald Trump beyond the campaign, beyond the convention. She has to raise money, as she's already showing that she can do. She has to consolidate the party behind her, and she has to demonstrate that she can be a national leader in a new way. Because while a lot of Americans know her, people don't know the vice president the same way they know a president. She's going to have that chance now to reintroduce her.
And Kamala, in very slight defense of people like that, we don't know that much about Kamala Harris. We don't know as much as we should, given that she's the VP. I remember when Obama was president, Biden, he was on the news a lot. Not like giving direct interviews, but because he was going around doing diplomatic missions and stuff. But Kamala Harris has been doing everything in the background. I just don't see as much news. Like, the only time I see news of Kamala Harris is Republicans trying to get a dunk about her coconut thing or something like that. But like, that's literally it. That's all I ever see in regards to Kamala Harris. But it seems like all of those efforts went to waste because every single one of the things that they've used to attack her for the past year, the coconut thing, you exist in the context of everything which came before you statement. Oh man. We'd lose hella campaign money. Yeah, I touched on that before. Here, we'll go over everything here. We'll go over the Obama thing here. Is not endorsing Kamala. He's calling for an open convention. Michelle Obama may be his nominee. Shut the fuck up. Why would Michelle Obama has never indicated that she wants to run for office. In fact, the opposite. It sounds like she is always pulled away from the idea of running for office. Although it would be really funny for Trump to lose to both Biden and Michelle Obama. That would be really funny. You'll get mad? I can't wait. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead, but I have extraordinary confidence that the leaders of our party will be able to create a process from which an outstanding nominee emerges. I believe that Joe Biden's vision of a generous, prosperous, and united America that provides opportunity for everyone will be on full display at the Democratic Convention in August, and I expect that every single one of us are prepared to carry that message of hope and progress forward into November and beyond. Wine Mom and the Millennial Gay Vote? Yeah. Well, I think that Kamala Harris has the Wine Mom vote. And I'm not sure that Buttigieg being a gay man probably is not a good thing for this campaign specifically. Because we can't, like, as much as it shouldn't matter that a man is gay, the idea of there being a president and his first husband before there's a woman president. Like, I feel like that would not go well. I don't think that would go over well with people, even Democratic hardliners. I don't know why people are like this, but people are like this.
Herself, make clear who she is, how she fits into this political moment, and what she wants to make the priorities of her campaign.
What do you expect we should see in the next couple of days from her? I mean, there's a sense that this introduction has to, just show people that she's up to being the leader of the free world. We've been hearing from a lot of folks out in battleground states who clearly are not tremendously familiar with her, who have not been following the news day to day. How high is the level of challenge, and what do we expect to see?
Yeah, I mean, she's been playing the inside game for the last 24 hours. We haven't seen her in public except for a brief appearance on the South Lawn to congratulate NCAA sports champions, which is kind of an odd version.
They attacked Harris for giving her pronouns to a group of blind people. Yeah, no, I saw that. She's like, my name is Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she, her. I am a woman sitting at the end of a table wearing a blue suit. And I thought that was really weird at first. I thought that was weird at first, but let's be real. The context absolutely justifies that. If you're talking to blind people, guess what? You kind of have to describe the visual aspect of things to them, right? You kind of have to tell people who are blind, who cannot see, what there is to see, what visual things they might, not be, catching on to, but, whatever.
Appearance for a person, debuting as a presidential candidate. So presumably in the next few days, she'll start to make the public case, which she hasn't done yet. You're right to say there is obviously just, some disconcerted Democrats in places like the Midwest where they worry about whether she can sell to their constituents. They don't know. Obviously, there's a concern that, she hasn't proven to be a great campaigner in the past, and that her own campaign in 2020 didn't even make it to the first vote. But I think there's such excitement about a fresh face, right? I think Americans brought.
That is one thing that does terrify me, though, is that she dropped out before the Iowa caucuses in 2019, right? She was what? Who was the first one to drop out? 2020 Democratic primary. Does it say when they dropped out? Small. Let's see if we can make this. Wait, dark. Oh, look at that. Easier on the eyes. Oh man, she doesn't even make it into the delegates' one unpopular vote behind Tulsi Gabbard. Jesus. Candidates withdrew before the primaries. On October 20th. Oh wait, no, that's her birthday. She pulled out January 21st of 2019. Oh wait, no, that's when she announced, and she ended December 3rd, 2019. And the Iowa caucus was held February 3rd of 2020. So she dropped out 2 months before a single vote was cast. So that's worrying. Popular vote, she got 844, but granted, that was because she had already dropped out. So she's more popular than Biden. Well, here's the reason why. The reason why is Biden is already he's has a low approval rating now, but all things considered, he had still a good chance to beat. He had a good chance to beat Donald Trump. That's the sad thing. Yeah, it just keeps on I have to keep on changing the exposure on my camera. And it's not because people particularly loved the fact that Biden was old and they could get past that because people hate Donald Trump that much, right? It's the same thing in 2020. I'm not sure if there was very much enthusiasm for Biden as there honestly should have been, given his record as president afterwards. But people can't read the future, and people should have been more excited this time. But for like the Destiny memes that have been going on for the past couple of, which is why it's so funny right now that the Republicans have no narrative against Kamala Harris, because they were certain that Biden was never going to drop out, right? Biden was never going to drop out. But even though Biden had such low approval ratings, and even though he was polling less than Donald Trump, he was neck and neck, all things considered, for who was going to win. It was never going to be a blowout either way. And that's because people just don't like Donald Trump that much. And that's like the reality of it. But hold on, to be clear, also you guys are saying like Zoomer vote. Sieg is right. Nobody cares about the Zoomer vote because Zoomers are too young to be like part of like the target demographic to get people out to vote. It would be great if Zoomers did go out to vote, but they're young and young people don't vote. So Sieg is correct. Yeah, exactly what Sieg said. But also, I feel like Zoomers are age like what? They're a year younger than me. Was the oldest Zoomer is a year younger than me. So they're 27 to like I think 18. Not 27 and under because Gen Alpha is like starting to like about to go to college. And now the sun comes out in full force. I am the last of the millennials. I am too. 95, brother. Let me close these blinds right here because it's killing me. Oh, God damn, bro. God damn, bro. I just wish there was a single way for me to sit more comfortably. You know? To 2012? That's a huge range. It's not usually that long. Is it? Like a generation? I thought so. Millennials were 86 to 95. That's only 10 years. So I would assume Zoomers would be 97 to like 2008. And then from 2008 onwards until, 2008 until born in 2018, 2019, 2020 would be Gen Alpha. 96 is the last year? Oh. So, but still, that would still make it 10 years. 97 to 2012 is almost 20 years, but I'll take your word for it. It's not like that consequential to anything that we're talking about. It's not something to argue about. Also, Sig, why did I feel like why have I been operating this entire time feeling like you were like 2 or 3 years older than me? It's because you're more mature. You know? Boomers are dying. The next group to appeal to is Coomers. Believe it or not. Like it or not. We have to appeal to the Coomers. And we have the perfect woman for the job. Man. Anyways, we're finishing this video. It's almost over, okay?
Oddly speaking, we're really sick of the choice. They didn't want to have a rerun of 2020. They didn't want to have Biden and Trump as the only possibility. That's the reason why you see people like RFK Jr. doing reasonably well as an independent. They wanted a fresh face, and she now can present that to them, take the generational argument, flip it on its head, and make it about Trump being age 78 and suffering from his own cognitive issues. And hopefully, from her point of view, energize younger voters, black voters, women, others who might not have as the only possibility. That's the reason why you see people like...
You know what would be... This guy has a point. Kamala Harris being, I think she's about to turn 60. 1 second. Let's click on her name. Born. She's age 59. She's tickling 60. Okay? You know what would be really funny? With all the Republicans that have been saying, hey, you know what? We need to have Trump and Biden have a cognitive test that's open for the public to look at, is open for the public to see. Kamala should take him up on that. Yeah. Yeah. You should take that. You should take that cognitive test there, boyo, Mr. Trump. I think that would be a top tier meme. Okay, I think that would be a top tier meme. But anyways, finish out the video now.
RFK Jr. doing reasonably well as an independent. They wanted a fresh face, and she now can present that to them, take the generational argument, flip it on its head, and make it about Trump being age 78 and suffering from his own cognitive issues. And hopefully, from her point of view, energize younger voters, black voters, women, others who might not have been necessarily all that excited about Joe Biden, but were part of his coalition.
Now, let me be fair to Bones and Gas for a second. Young people have been going out and voting more, I think. If I remember stats correctly, and I'm full of stats. Younger people have been more politically active than previous generations like Gen X and millennials have been. I don't know how consequential that is. And I don't know if that like pushed Biden over the edge in some of the swing states. It'd be nice if young people came out to vote again, especially now that Biden's not in office and they don't have the same exact, talking point shoved in their ear for multiple years that he's old, decrepit, and can't think. They haven't had that opportunity to just they've had the opportunity, they just haven't with Kamala Harris because they never dreamed, for some reason, they never dreamed that they would be running against Kamala Harris, which is why we don't see any unified attack on her right now. Because all the attacks on her are things that people are memeing about in a positive way. The coconut tree, you exist in the context of everything in which came before you, etc. So like the Republican, probably for the first time in years, I can't even remember the last time I didn't see a cohesive conservative like talking point going around against whatever they're hating the most right now. But they don't have a cohesive attack strategy, and we're only a couple of months out from the election. And for them to do what they have done my entire life, which is repeat the same thing over and over and over until everybody believes it, right? There just isn't enough time to run with that same strategy.
Well, welcome. For people that are new, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Kick, I'm Sondsol. I am a political science student. I like to talk about politics. I like to argue about politics. We talk about all sorts of fun things on here like drama and politics. And I like to argue with people and chat about a lot of different things. Like, comment, and subscribe. I don't like to shill. Also,